learned here. So this is something I want to start doing. We all go to different lecture sessions, and the lecture class is some presenter up front showing the screen and telling you how to do things. And you go home and you look at the pictures and you look at your notes and it doesn't make sense what you were writing down or how we do this. So today's lecture that I'm focused on is this gentleman here did one that says you're not behind yet, how to learn AI in 18 minutes. Okay. I want to, instead of just doing the lecture class, I want to do the lab practicals. I want to get us into the lab and actually work on these things. So I took this lecture and broke it down into 4 things that we can do. Does that make sense? Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, but we didn't hear anything said after getting into the class and focus on it.
No. Okay, let's try again.
Like I said, we could see your screen. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we go to the lecture classes and we take pictures of all the slides and we talk to, we listen to the person, but then we go home and we try to implement it and we don't know how to get it done. Okay, so I want to try to break these down into discernible steps that we can use to get the actual work done. Does that make sense? If you can't hear me, raise your hand at some point. I will try to repeat. Okay, so these are people that I'm following. These are different lecturers we're going to look at. I also want to clarify the difference between coaching and consulting. Coaching is asking you questions to draw out the best results for you. Consulting is actually helping you find the way. Okay, so imagine if you want to go to the Kroger and you put into the GPS, tell me how to get to Kroger, and Kroger, the GPS instead says, how will you feel when you get to Kroger? Have you made your list for Kroger? What direction do you think you should go for Kroger? That's coaching. Telling you how to get somewhere, that's consulting. Okay. So let's get into learning the right way to use AI. And this is Dan Martell's framework here. Okay. The outcome we want to get is a structured AI prompt framework. A lot of us are just putting in words and we're not really structuring the prompt the right way. Okay. One specialized AI workspace. Now, he has a theory that we should just use one specific platform and really get good at it before we move into the others. Okay. Using a workable master prompt for daily tasks, and then coming up with system prompts for workflows. So there's 2 types of prompts he wants us to do, which are master prompts and system prompts. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand, jump in here. Don't wait till the end. Okay. Using AI as a tool is asking it random and vague questions, providing the equivalent to a text message. Like, and I'm guilty of this. I ask it something, but I don't really give it context. I don't give it ideas and theories about what I do. It's just, tell me the top 5 things about Dallas, Texas, blah, blah. Using it as a system is building a repeatable template, okay? Providing 2 to 3 books worth of context up front. Tell it all sorts of stuff. How many of you have been on a call with me and I say, turn on the microphone and just talk to the AI? Tell it so much that it learns more about you, not just one sentence, okay? Setting a precise parameters so the AI does 80% of the work. I don't know about you, but there have been times I get result sets back and they're not right. And I have to ask it to do it again. This is happening to me on Notebook LM because I'm probably not giving it enough. Okay. The golden rule, the quality of the output will never exceed the quality of the input. Give it a text message. Giving it just a text message gets watered down auto completion. Giving it context gives you genius. Okay. There's a great video about this, and I'll try to find it for you here. Totally off topic, but if you understand the reason why you're doing something, you can do it better than if you just told to go do something. Okay. There's beginning, asking random questions. Intermediate is engineers and structured prompts. Advanced, master's pulling prompting and specialists in one core platform, specializing in one core platform. And then architects, automated master and system prompts. Okay, so as we're going along here, the learning curve, Tom Ferry has talked about the J curve. We're at the point where we have to learn a whole new technology to remain relevant. Okay, so we have 4 parts of a prompt. Okay, write this part down. We have a role, we have a context, we have the command, and we have the format we want the results to come out in. Okay, so with the role, you're going to tell it who it is. You're going to tell it who it is. You're a professional real estate marketing copywriter, would be something we might use as real estate agents. If I'm in a different field, I would tell it exactly who it should, the role it should assume. Okay. Context. This listing is a 3-bedroom modern home in Austin with a rooftop patio. Okay, so we're telling it the role and then we're telling it the context. Then we give it a command, write a listing description highlighting lifestyle and neighborhood amenities. Okay, and then the format, it needs to be under 150 words. Okay, so we're giving it role, context, command, and format. And we're doing this so that it understands exactly what to do. If I just gave it something and said, write a listing description for a house in Austin, it would probably go off and write something, but it has no idea how to do that. So this is one way to structure the prompt to give it the role you're wanting, the context, the command, and the format. Okay, who's writing prompts at this level yet? Anybody? Okay, we need to get to this level. Okay, and here's a step 2 practice we can do. Instead of giving every detail, this is how you do what's called a pull prompt versus the structure prompt. So this one here I was just talking about was one where you gave it everything. A pull prompt, you ask it to ask you questions. Give it the result and then ask it to help you build the prompt. So this is the second style of doing it. My goal is to attract relocation clients moving to Dallas. Ask me questions one at a time so that you can build a marketing strategy. If you do this, this pulls the information to you. Rather than you having to have the whole prompt together, have it interview you. We've all done the hello, my name is prompt together, correct? Okay, every hand better go up for that. Liam, we'll work on that. So the
Yep.
hello, my name is prompt is literally part of that prompt is ask me 10 questions one at a time so you get to know me and my business better. Okay, I have learned so much about myself and my business by the questions that each of the GPTs have asked me. So this is something you can do instead of saying, here's everything, help me, you can say, here's what I want at the end, help me get there. And it will interview you. Okay. Answer each question with details. I don't know how many times I've gone to the 10 questions and answers that people have done for us, and they've done just one sentence. And that one sentence isn't nearly enough. We need to give it a lot more. Okay. So step 3 is specialization in one AI form. Now I tend to use 3. I use 2 a lot, but I've used 3. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Perplexity are ones that it's suggesting. Okay, so that can be something. Who uses ChatGPT? Okay, who's using Gemini at all? Be honest, on a regular basis, are you using Gemini? Are you using Claude at all? I use Claude a lot.
I custom code like everything with
You
Claude.
love Claude, okay.
I love
And
Claude.
is anybody using Grok a lot? And that's generally the answer I'm getting. Okay, ChatGPT is the VHS tape. Okay, Gemini is beta, and then Claude is more like Blu-ray because it's really high quality, but not everybody has a Blu-ray player. And Grok is kind of the 8-track tape player that somebody has in their car, but it's not real. I'm not seeing a lot from Grok myself. Okay, Perplexity is the player that can play all the different formats. It doesn't always have the data itself. The one I'm leaning on heavily right now, and Leslie is helping me learn it and do more with it, is Notebook LM. And Notebook LM is amazing for me. So if you're not in Notebook yet, that's one to get to. Any questions so far on the prompting ideas?
What workflows do you recommend for Notebook?
Notebook right now, what I'm doing is I'm gathering information from content providers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going out and grabbing mass information, usually from their YouTube videos, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting it into notebooks and saying, okay, discern all this, and separate all this out for me and help me learn quickly. Rather than watching 15 hours of videos from Tom Ferry, I'm going out and
Mm.
grabbing all the videos together and saying, give me the high points here. How does
Okay, so
this work?
you recommend it for like education, like condensing large amounts of information.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. If I had this a year ago when I was writing my dissertation, I would have gone a lot faster.
I
Trust me.
I have a question about what you're saying about these things.
Rebecca and
Uh,
then Pat. Go ahead, Rebecca.
yeah. I'm sorry, but did I interrupt somebody?
No.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
You first and then Pat.
You said ChatGPT is VHS, Gemini is beta, Claude is Blu-ray. Um, but I think they changed because I think at first ChatGPT was really, really good, and then I think Gemini was good, and then I think Claude was good. Then Gemini was really good for something, and then Chat got improved, and Claude. I think it kind of goes back and forth, and they're competing and getting better. So I
It
think it's
does.
kind of limit. You're saying is that what they are in terms of when they came out
I'm
or where
seeing
they
that
are
in
now?
I'm seeing that in popularity. I think everybody had a VHS tape player and not many people had beta. And I think a lot
Oh,
of people
okay.
are using ChatGPT and not a lot of people are using Gemini.
Well,
And I
Okay.
think the people
Okay.
and I think the people who are really looking for excellence are going for Claude.
now I will disagree with that on Gemini, and here's why. If you have an Android phone and you say, "Hey Google," it pulls up Gemini. You just don't know that
Hmm.
that's what's happening. So lots of people are using it, but it's just to ask generic questions that they would ask they're asking Google for. So they are
Yeah.
using Gemini quite often. They are just not using it as a professional tool or even a research tool.
Yeah, you're true. They may not even be knowing they're using it. Yeah. Liam, did you have something to add into there?
Yeah, I think it's good to use more than one. And I remember way back when a couple years ago, uh, I'd heard that they would lie to you, and I actually asked one of the AI, are you will you lie to me? And it said, yeah, they would lie to me. And then there was one video I watched once that showed in 8 of 9 different ways Gemini was better. So I think a lot of which AI you use depends upon what output you want. And sometimes I'll put it in one, then I'll put it in another, then I'll put them both into something to mash them up and just play around with it. But you can go down too many rabbit holes if you do too much of that. And I made that mistake
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah. I live with a software developer, a high-end software developer, and his input is ChatGPT is really good for like personal stuff. Like if you're like in my opinion, but it does hallucinate a lot. It does drift a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the
Yep.
reputation around it was actually ChatGPT that had a lot of scandals in the sense that like yeah, it does give wrong information and it's gotten in a lot of trouble because it was like it was the earliest I think it was one of the earliest ones, right?
Yeah.
So they had to take the fall for a lot of learning curves. But yeah, it depends on the workflow. So like if in my personal opinion, if you're trying to do like personal stuff, it's like ChatGPT, but other, if you need something else, it's
Yeah.
other AIs
And
for
this is
that.
why we're gonna take lectures from different people. So this is just Dan Martell's opinion to do it this way. If we don't like it, do your own. Pat, you had a question.
Pat, you're
Pat, you're
you're
muted.
muted.
You caught my attention when you said using notebooks for like Tom Ferry training. So like Phil Jones comes to mind because that's something that I really need to
Hmm.
step up. So how would I go, like what would be a high level of me doing that?
You could go to Phil Jones, who by the way is great. Go to Phil Jones' YouTube channel, copy links for various Phil Jones videos, paste the links into Notebook, and tell it to start churning through and giving you different results from that. And I'm happy to show you how to do that. I actually go into the backup the back side of the HTML and take the tags out personally. But some people just go copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Totally fine. I can steal 30 or 40 URLs at once in the HTML and just put them in. And then because Notebook LM is a Google product and YouTube is a Google product, they instantly know about the video right away. It doesn't even take much churn time to do. And it can start spitting out all sorts of information about the highlights of what they've talked about and when. Okay. So this is a great tool that literally, if I'd had this during my dissertation, it would have saved me so much time. It literally can take an encyclopedia of somebody's wealth of knowledge and give you the high points.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
and so I've done
Yeah.
it for 8 or 10 different AI, sort of folks to try to get, influencers in this community to try to understand where they're at, and it would have taken me years to catch up on each one, and by then the technology would have moved even further. This is a way for me to leap, leap my knowledge base faster.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it can also take that information and create a podcast. So if you want to listen to it in your car, it'll crank out a actually really nice podcast. A couple chatting back and forth, talking about whatever you put into it. If you're more of a visual person, it can create a video for you.
Wow.
Brief, detailed, or like I think the new option is cinematic. Yeah, and you could watch it. You could even post that on your YouTube, on your
Yeah,
YouTube channel, and put it in your blogs. It can create a quiz tell it, hey, create a quiz. I want to check my how much knowledge I retained after listening to the podcast. It's a really powerful tool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
So
Can't wait to try it.
So this is again based off of his lecture here. He was saying that Claude is a choice for writers. I tend to agree with this. I think Claude does much better writing. ChatGPT does good as well, but I think Claude writes more at a higher level. Okay. Now, ChatGPT is a generalist choice. It does a lot together for people. Okay. And then Gemini, it says, is for research. Now, you can write him and tell him if you agree, but that's what his lecture was about. Okay. Committing to one platform today and build your foundation. I I tend to personally think I'm going to commit to at least two. And Notebook LM will be my third. By the way, Notebook has an element of Gemini in the middle of it.
Well,
Okay,
we lost you.
okay. So Notebook LM actually has Gemini data in the middle of it because Gemini is a Google product, Notebook is a Google product. And so in the middle of a Notebook LM session, you can put in a prompt, and I suspect it's Gemini answering it. And maybe Leslie, since you know Gemini better, maybe you know about whether Notebook and LM is sharing Gemini data in the middle of that, but I would suspect so.
I mean, so it's basically all connected. So Google's not
Yeah,
going to let one product not be connected to another product. Like
that's
it
one of
only
their
makes it more. It
strengths.
only makes it more powerful. And I agree that Claude is probably good
Mm.
for writing. I use it every day for blogging. Um, and I use Notebook LM for infographics. Like you can
Yes.
create the best infographics and you can
Hmm.
customize them, and you don't have to know how to use Canva because I am not an artistic person. I'm an autistic person. So I'm not going to get I it's just going to look structured. Like I put a block here, put a block here. But when you use the infographics that they create, I also on multiple occasions I don't know how to tell you a process and help you understand it, but I can literally write out, here's how you do something in a non-technical way. And the example I would give is Bob once had to make a video. He made a video talking about how commission is paid to the agents who, and based upon what their level is, whether it's a business they brought in, whether it's a business that the company brought in. And he made this like 3 or 4 minute video. I put the video into what do you call it? Notebook LM,
Book.
and I had it write me an SOP. It was professional and it was exact, except Bob missed one thing in his video, and of course it didn't catch that. So I just had to add one thing. And it did it in what, a minute, 2 minutes. So you can do all these other things to create things in Notebook LM. I think we're just like on the verge of it. So literally when comes to writing, there's so many options that it gives you to choose from, and then you can customize each one of them. It's
Bob, I
something
have a question for you. How much do you use a humanizer in your work?
I don't.
I
You
don't.
don't.
Define humanizer for us.
Yeah. So like Claude and ChatGPT, Gemini, they all have like similar, like very, very similar writing styles to each other. So for at least like I run a lot of my copywriting through Humanizer AI. I think it's beautiful. It's amazing. I got my partner to pass her exams through that way. They didn't detect the AI, but Humanizer is just a way so you're not detected that it's AI.
Yeah, I'm out of academia, so
Yeah,
not.
you're totally good. Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
good for like blog postings and stuff. I was just wondering.
Quillbot AI is another one that Leslie and I have used before. By the way, what you're looking at right here is a Notebook LM slide. This is the quality of slide it can create.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So now let's jump through here. So this is talking about pulling versus pushing. And Rebecca, this gets to what we were talking about earlier. The pull versus the push. 80% of the work is done by you. You give AI every tiny instruction and turn by turn. Okay, that's a push. I want this, it needs to be this way. I want it to be that. 4 levels of the prompts we were talking about earlier. Pull prompt is where you give it the result and ask it to help you get back to where you are. Okay. So there's two different styles here. Specific driven development, you give AI the final objective and force the AI to interview you to map the best route. Okay. So there's 2 different styles of push and pull. And it depends on what you're looking for, which one may be best for you. Okay. And so the execution of the prompt is set the destination of what you're looking for. Tell it what it is you're trying to get. Turn on the voice diction and just start talking to it. Turn on the microphone and just start going. I've had coaching calls recently where people have not done what they're supposed to. And so we just do it in class, and they turn on the microphone and start answering the 10 questions in class. Because I know that if I let them go again, they're not going to do it by next time either. And then refine what it gives you. Maybe it misunderstood what you meant. Maybe it doesn't understand an idiom or a turn of phrase. Take what it gives you and refine. And we go through this cycle until we get everything we need. Does that make sense? Anybody doing this already? Okay. I think I do much more of the push where I tell it everything up front, and I probably should do more pull. And that's just me being a driver and being a jerk and telling I want it my way. I should let it guide me a little bit more. Okay. Now, mastering your prompt, there's a master prompts and system prompts, and this guy breaks them out into two different things. Okay. Master prompts create repeatable workflows. Like Leslie was talking about, he took my thing and put it in. It's a repeatable workflow, so now he has an SOP. The system prompt defines how the AI should behave long term. And there's two different things that we need to do here. Instead of writing a new prompt every time, you build a template machine.
And with that said,
Okay.
it's sometimes you have to you ask AI to do something for you, give it the prompt that you think is going to work, and it doesn't work exactly. So you have to modify. You have to continually update. Say no, do it this way. No, do it this way. Once you get it perfect, ask it to give you the correct prompt, and it will give you the prompt to use in the future. So you don't have to do it again the next time it comes around.
And that's a very valuable idea. So what if you use pull to make the prompt? I want a prompt that will do this, this, and this. Ask me questions on how to do it, what I need so that you build the perfect prompt for me. I want to be able to advertise homes in Santa Barbara. I need to be able to do it at this level. Ask me all the questions that you need so that you build a prompt that I can use over and over again when I have a new home.
And here's how some of that works. So anybody ever talk to IT but is not an IT person, and you're not speaking the same language? So you're not speaking the same language. So telling them what you want doesn't always translate to what they're going to be doing for you. So if you ask the AI to ask you the questions, y'all will ultimately end up in the same space. But if you try to tell an IT person how to do the job that you want, it's not going to work, because you're going to tell them to do one thing, but that's not what you meant. You didn't choose the right language. Same thing works with AI. So if you ask it to ask you questions, y'all will get to the same place. Whereas if you start telling it and you're not using the same language it's using, you're going to end up with something you don't.
Okay. So the master prompt is the identity. The system prompt is the process. Does that make sense? So for a master prompt, the concept is a permanent downloadable PDF, permanent downloadable PDF manual detailing a specific role in your life. Okay, you're going to give it some context, and then if AI sounds like a stranger, it's because you haven't introduced yourself. How many of us have done the introduction? Okay, if you get output that doesn't sound like you, tell it more about you. This is why we're doing the whole hello, my name is stuff, so it understands who we are, so it can create things in our own voice and in our own style. Now, I say in our own voice, let me clarify. I don't mean like uploading your voice tone so that people can sit there and make an avatar of you. I mean in your style. Okay, that's a whole different style of AI that I'm not getting into right now. So when you get something that sounds, oh, that sounds like a computer wrote it, that's probably because you have not given it enough of yourself yet so that it can do it for you. This is true of any situation, like when we're doing hiring a personal assistant, a live breathing human being. When they put out a listing appointment or something, or they talk to your client in a way that isn't like your brand, it's because you didn't train them. We have to train this. Okay. And I think what most people want to do is barge in the room and say, where's my listing presentation? You should have made it already. And AI doesn't know what that means. Well, this was supposed to be simple and easy, and it's not, and they leave. We gotta work with it. Make sense? Not that any of you are like that, okay? So the system prompt is would be a rigid behavior recipe coded in words. I want you to always do this, okay? Generate a YouTube idea, write a blog outline, create 3 social posts. This is kind of a sad example, but this is going to be something that is very specific in how you do it this way. Now, having introduced yourself and telling it more about you will help it create this system post better for you. Any questions on this? Okay, so master prompt, you want, oops, sorry, go back. Master prompt creates repeatable workflows. An example would be, you're a marketing assistant. My industry is real estate. I want to market to Austin, Texas. Generate a YouTube video idea, write a blog outline, create 3 social media posts, suggest a call to action. Okay, that's a master prompt. A system prompt would be, you're my strategic advisor for growing my real estate business. Always focus on lead generation, authority building, and client trust. When answering, provide actionable steps and avoid generic advice. When you have these two working together, you can create the GPT. Now, some people do custom GPTs. I tend to do projects more than custom GPTs. But by doing this, you give it the whole framework of what you need rather than just tell me how to market to Austin, Texas. Make sense? Okay. Marcus, any questions? Okay. Any final thoughts? Is it helpful to look at the lecture classes this way?
Yes.
Because I think what we do is we watch the videos or we sit in the conference and we go home and try to put it together and we don't know how to do it. And I don't want this to be another lecture that you just attended and didn't do. So I hope you took some good notes along the way. But these will be things we'll be talking about in our calls coming up next. What was helpful, what was not. This is a brand new way of me looking at things too. So give me feedback and advice on what you thought was helpful and what was not. And then next time we're going to pick out a different lecture and go for it. And if you have different lectures you want me to look at, great. I've already built like 12 of these, but I will take into account if you want me to pull apart a lecture that you've seen, let me know. And I can run it through the system and see if we can take out of the lecture what would be 4. I'm trying to get each one to be 4 actionable steps so that you know what to do with what they gave you. Okay. So in here, the actionable steps are how to build the framework, how to build the master prompt, how to build the system prompt, and then picking an AI that you really like. We are kind of, as a group, deciding that that's maybe not what we want to do on that last one, but it's your call. Okay. Any questions? Any ideas? Are we good for the weekend? Who's got good plans?
Yeah.
Okay. We will see you next time, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank
Bye.
you. Nice to meet everybody. Have a good day.